Stories and conversations around Bloomington, Normal, and McLean County. This is WGLT's news magazine, Sound Ideas. Life has a lot of ups and downs, in this case, literally. The telegraph, buggy whips, and landline telephones all had their day and then receded into the past. In this episode of the WGLT series McHistory, hear about a Bloomington Normal job that also rose and fell and rose and fell.
The ups and downs of Emma's career have done anything but make a grouch out of the courthouse elevator operator.
There once was a time when elevators across the country were operated by a person, an elevator operator, rather than self-served with the push of a button like today.
I'm Diane Walker. I'm a volunteer with the McLean County Museum of History.
I am Candace Summers, Senior Director of Education at the McLean County Museum of History. For decades, these indoor aviators, as they were once called, took people up and down all day long in the high-rise buildings of downtown Bloomington, and oh, the stories they could tell.
A cheery good morning has gone to more than half a dozen court judges during Emma's long span, as well as to countless other public officials, juries, lawyers, people with problems, and criminals on their way to a trial on the second floor.
Emma Plunz was the longtime elevator operator at the McLean County Courthouse for about 40 years.
Ask if she remembers taking any really dangerous criminal up to circuit court. The veteran operator recalled only one real bad man. He was a handsome Sharpie who robbed a bank at Chenoa. He was quite friendly during numerous trips to the second floor trial, whence he later was sent to prison.
The American industrialist and master mechanic Elisha Otis, of fame today for Otis Elevator Company, invented the safety elevator in 1852, which is where we can find the roots to our modern-day passenger elevators today.
Emma said she had been running the same elevator for 28 of 28 and a half years.
His safety elevator was designed with a ratchet that would pop open and catch the racks along the side of the shaft if the rope that raised and lowered the elevator snapped.
Figuring about 30 trips up and down each hour of Emma's day, the operator has probably traveled over 29,000 miles during her soaring career.
His elevator basically revolutionized the way buildings were constructed, making them grow higher instead of wider.
That is based on a slide rule estimate.
According to a 1933 Panagraph article, it was estimated there were 40 buildings in Bloomington with elevators, and each building had an average of 2. So that meant there were at least 80 elevator operators living and working in Bloomington. And many of these elevator operators, they made this job a lifetime career, such as Jake Dean. He was a elevator operator for the People's Bank building on Center Street, who had been in the, quote, up and down business for 20 years when he was interviewed in 1938.
Do you know some of the pet peeves of an elevator operator?
Dean stated that he had a keen delight of dealing with the public. He said that almost everyone was dandy to him. The majority of people you meet are easily pleased. Of course, there are a few grouches, but I don't pay any attention to them.
Are you acquainted with some of the trials which cause them to regretfully sigh, "Oh boy, who wished this job of running an elevator on me?"
Emma took pride and pleasure in helping the people who came in the courthouse, and she was beloved by everyone. She knew everything that went on in the building and was always ready and willing to help people get where they needed to go. And when the day came to replace that elevator, it was said that no one could ever replace Emma Plunz, the little lady at the center of activity in the courthouse.
For the 16th time in the whys of the elevator operators, do you loiter along the way while the car is waiting for you?
They replaced that elevator she had worked on for over 40 years with one of those buzz button elevators in 1980, which that elevator just got replaced in 2023.
Maybe you forget to push the signal button, which is placed on all landings for your convenience, as well as that of the man who saves you those long and tiresome walks from floor to floor.
And they replaced it because they couldn't get parts. And safety codes had changed, just like when they put the new elevator in when Emma took over in 1927.
It often happens that a dozen or more persons are waiting on the same car, and impatiently too, while you wander along the way. Or you make just as big a pest of yourself in the eyes of the operator by rushing toward the car and grabbing the door before it reaches the landing.
As of 1981, there was still an elevator operator working in downtown in the Livingston's building.
Above all, in the pet peeve vocabulary of the elevator operator, do you announce your floor just as the elevator reaches the landing? Then, worst of all in the peeve book, do you get angry because the car carries you a floor or two beyond your landing and has to return again?
And as more and more elevators were installed in downtown Bloomington buildings, like in buildings across the country, the elevator operator occupation became extinct, along with the elegant elevators they once flew.
By the way, the last live operated elevator in Chicago will soon be replaced. It's in the Fine Arts Building on Michigan Avenue and dates to 1898. Chicago Magazine reports the only technician who knows how to repair it is retiring. In this episode of McHistory, you heard Candace Summers and Diane Walker. McHistory is a partnership between WGLT and the McLean County Museum of History. Charlie Schlenker produced this episode. And that is Sound Ideas Today. WGLT's news magazine is made possible in part by Bloomington Normal Audiology. I'm John Norton, story help from WGLT's Charlie Schlenker and from WCBU's Colin Shope. Katie Seelinger edits the show. This is 89.1 WGLT and WGLT.org, part of the NPR network.